Hi, Vicky Kelty here, and we're going deeper with grammar. Are you ready? I don't think anybody's ever ready, but that's what's happening. So, my study stats for grammar were 3 hours and 15 minutes. It was a lot of grammar. Well, let me just add a little caveat that is not in one day. I did have one session that was quite long. It was over 2 hours, and then on a separate day, an hour, and on a separate day, 6 minutes, and it all added up to that 3 hours and 15 minutes. So for my leisure stats, as I focused more intensely on grammar, I actually made sure to give myself breaks from Spanish in other ways so that I wasn't feeling overwhelmed and like it was just too much and um, exhausting my brain. So I spent a lot of time watching things in their original version, not watching the Spanish dubbed version, watching a lot of shows in English and reading a lot of books in English and just giving myself a break from Spanish, which might not be what you had been expecting to hear. But for me, that balance just really, really helps. So, so I thought I'd share in case that's helpful for you to hear. Okay. So onwards to the idea of going deeper with grit. As you know, because I've talked about it many times, if this is your first episode, you might not know. But in past episodes, I've definitely touched on the fact that I am working to improve my grammar in certain areas. And this time is no different. I've been continuing this journey of improving my grammar, and I've been focusing on the past yet again. And I decided to do some grammar review. And I, again, was trying to be really intentional with it and not get stuck in the learning and skip the using. I like to repeat it. It bears repeating. It's super important that we make sure we're using the stuff that we're learning. I had some huge revelations with my practice of the past tenses. And I'm just really excited about it. So I wanted to share some of those things that came up. And one of the main ones was that I realized I want to go deeper with my practice. That's what I want my review to be about. I just don't want to be repeating the same thing. I want to be learning more. I want to be going to, and I know this is like so annoying to hear, but I want to be going to the next level with my use of the past and my understanding of the past tenses. Here's how I decided to try to work on making that happen. So I decided to go old school. I went and got my grammar book and I started with the A2 level, which is like a higher beginner level. And then it hit me. What was my goal again? Oh, right. It was to go deeper, to next level my understanding and use of the past tenses. Why am I focusing on the beginner level then? So I switched that up. I went and got my C1 grammar book, the advanced level, which makes sense for wanting to do a higher level because I have an advanced level understanding of Spanish. I am living in Spain. I'm surrounded by Spanish. It makes sense at this point in my life that I would do the advanced level. It wouldn't make sense for me to do that with French because the higher beginner level would be advanced for me. It all depends on where you're currently at. You need to see where you're at so that you can decide what is pushing you to the next level. And A2, the higher beginner, is not pushing me to the next level. So, yes, pulled out the C1 advanced level version, and I got to work. Then the next thing I did is I wanted to see, what do my airs sound like? Because this is what I really realized was concerning me. I wanted to know, am I being understood by people? And to what extent am I being understood? Now, without a teacher, that does limit me because with my students, one thing that I'm able to do is to let them know that although it isn't how I would express it, it is something that I understand your meaning, or I simply do not understand what's being said. Let's word it a different way. So I can let students know the level of understanding in what they're saying. So that's what I wanted to know for my past tense use. How well is it being understood? So I plugged my incorrect sentences into ChatGPT and I just said, take these errors, evaluate them, and tell me on, I gave them like a scale of 3 choices of complete misunderstanding, it sounds awkward, or it's not the normal way that people would say it. Like it's not the common way that it's said. And so I had it go through my sentences and let me know its evaluation, which we know it's not going to be, ChatGPT isn't going to be 100% correct, but it gave me, like a baseline to work off of. And that's all I needed. I just needed a confidence boost and for somebody to tell me, am I being completely misunderstood? And guess what? The majority of the sentence were either just a little bit awkward or they were not how people would normally say them in Spanish. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is great news. That is a really big confidence boost to me because that lets me know that I'm being understood. Now, honestly, this is something I should know because when I have conversations with people, they respond to what I'm saying. And if a person responds and the conversation continues and it flows, then that means that you're being understood. So, for whatever reason, I needed this extra validation and I got it. And now I can just keep growing from there. I've dug deeper and got to find out some really cool things about how I'm doing with my past tense use. And I feel really good about that. Now, my question to you is, where can you go deeper with your grammar practice so that you can keep improving and keep being understood by other people in conversations? Because at the end of the day, that is, at least for me, what my main goal really truly is, just to be able to connect with more people and be understood and understand them as well. So, I would love for you to share with me what grammar you want to go deeper with and how you are planning to go deeper with your practice. And we'll see what my next focus will be on. I'm not going to leave the past tense behind. I want to continue with it and keep it strong, but also keep building on other areas because you don't want to just have one thing strong and the other things weak. Now, do we? I will leave you with that. I hope you found something useful that you can put into practice with your own grammar practice today. And happy learning to you. Bye bye then.